The party had thinned out. What remained were half-empty glasses, murmuring conversations softened by fatigue, and the distant sound of ice settling in a forgotten drink. He watched her across the room, his wife, Helena, standing beneath the amber glow of a chandelier, listening to someone he didn't recognize. She wasn't smiling, but her lips were parted as if she might. Jonathan shifted his weight, the collar of his shirt suddenly too tight. He had seen that look before. Not joy, not even pleasure, but attention. Genuine, deliberate attention. The kind she rarely gave him anymore. The cab ride home was silent. Helena's gaze stayed fixed outside the window, her reflection ghosted in the glass. Rain streaked down the city streets, warping neon signs and taillights into smears of color. Jonathan wanted to say something, to ask if she had enjoyed herself, if she had too much to drink, if she was tired, but the words felt pointless. Whatever distance stretched between them had hardened into something tangible, something neither of them knew how to break. Her hand rested in her coat pocket, fingers curled around something unseen. The apartment smelled of wine and damp wool when they stepped inside. Helena shrugged off her coat, hanging it with quiet precision. Jonathan loosened his tie, watching her movements as if they might tell him something. "I'll shower," she murmured, her voice devoid of weight. She walked down the hallway, and for a moment he was left standing there, the sound of water running beyond the door. He reached into the pocket of her coat, drawn by something he couldn't name, intuition, suspicion, a quiet kind of fear. His fingers closed around a small velvet box. His breath caught. He pulled it out, the weight of it absurdly heavy in his palm. A ring box. He pried it open, his heartbeat sluggish in his ears. Inside sat a delicate gold band, elegant and understated, too simple to be new, too familiar to be insignificant. He knew this ring. It was the one he had given her before they were married. The one she had lost years ago. Or at least, that's what she had told him. Jonathan sat at the kitchen table, the box still open before him. The overhead light buzzed faintly, casting sharp shadows on the wood grain. Helena emerged from the bathroom, hair damp, sleeves pulled down over her wrists. She stopped when she saw it. Her face didn't change, but something in her body, some quiet, imperceptible thing, tightened. "Where did you find that?" His voice was calm, but the question pressed into the space between them like a blade. Helena hesitated. "It doesn't matter." "It does." She exhaled, slow and measured. "I found it a while ago." "I didn't tell you because," she trailed off, eyes flicking toward the window. "I don't know." Jonathan studied her. He had spent years learning the subtleties of her face, the small furrow in her brow when she was lying, the way she swallowed before speaking when she was nervous. "Who gave it to you?" She flinched, barely perceptible, but he caught it. "No one," she said, too quickly. The weight of her silence in the taxi. The way she had touched her pocket, fingers curled around a secret. The look she had given that man at the party. A bitter taste rose in his throat. "You lost it years ago," he said, his voice quieter now. "I thought I did." "Then where has it been?" She looked at him then, finally, fully, and he knew before she said anything. Neither of them spoke for a long time. The city hummed beyond the glass, a faraway symphony of tires on wet pavement, of distant laughter and subway brakes. Jonathan stared at the ring, the gold catching the dim kitchen light. Helena's voice, when she finally spoke, was quiet. "I didn't mean for it to happen." He closed his eyes. The words had been inevitable, but they still landed like a fist to the ribs. "How long?" "A while." The air between them thickened, dense with things unsaid. Jonathan pressed his fingers to his temple, the weight of exhaustion settling into his bones. He thought about the mornings they had spent in quiet routine, the way she had kissed him absent-mindedly before leaving for work, the distant warmth of her body beside him in bed. Had it all been a slow unraveling, thread by thread, until there was nothing left? Was it him, he asked, picturing the man at the party. Helena hesitated. Then, barely above a whisper, yes. The confirmation was a blade sliding in without resistance. Jonathan stood. The chair scraped against the floor, the sound jarring in the stillness. He couldn't look at her. Not now. Not yet. Helena watched him with something unreadable in her expression, not guilt, not regret, but something softer. Resignation, perhaps. He swallowed hard. Do you love him? A pause. I don't know. He nodded once, a slow, deliberate movement. He understood what she meant. How love wasn't always a single moment, but a slow erosion, a shifting of gravity. He had been on the receiving end of that shift before, though never with her. And yet, in the end, the betrayal was the same. Helena stepped forward. Jonathan. He raised a hand, not in anger, not even in accusation, but in quiet defeat. I need to go. His voice was barely above a whisper. I need to go. She didn't stop him. The night was cold when he stepped outside. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled of it, wet pavement, lingering electricity. Jonathan walked without direction, the city stretching out before him in glistening streaks of yellow and red. In his pocket, his fingers brushed against something small. The ring. He pulled it out, staring at it beneath the glow of a street lamp. The gold was warm against his skin, a remnant of something that had once been whole. He closed his fist around it, exhaling slowly. Somewhere behind him, in an apartment that no longer felt like home, his wife stood in the dim light of the kitchen, staring at the empty space he had left behind. Neither of them moved to fix what had broken. Neither of them knew how. And maybe, just maybe, neither of them wanted to.